Right, we are now in this space. We first started to talk about aerospace medicine protocols, and now we looked at possible applications. But now we would like to talk about sustainability models after the emergency. We will talk with Eleonora Cogo. Thank you for being here. You are always present at our festival, so it is a great pleasure for us to have you, and I'm sure that you will be with us during the next festival. Do you have a presentation? No, not really. So the floor to you. And the title is New Sustainability Models in the Aftermath of the Emergency. Right, I would like to share with you the following thing. A few weeks ago, I received a sort of a weird request because, well, in Spain and in France, the situation was worsening. And actually, a person, he's an expert in AI, and he came to me and he actually, she didn't want to stay at home. She wanted to go out. So she asked me, "Can you record a voice message for my family?" Well, I thought I'm not the right person to tell people what to say during an emergency, but okay, I can talk about my personal experience, and this is what I did. I actually described what was going on in Italy, and unfortunately, a very sad thing of people dying alone, and also trucks from the army taking the corpses from one city to another. And I told her it was a high risk. So this message was effective because the whole family of this person decided to stay at home. And well, actually, I was surprised because, well, I said the same things that I could read in newspapers, but listening to me, it was like, having a person coming from the future talking to them. And so, based on this episode, I thought about the future. A lot of researchers and epidemiologists have been saying for a lot of time we were not ready to face pandemic. But in spite of this, we decided to ignore, to neglect them. So we did not get ready at all. And these are the same questions that people dealing with climate change consider every single day. We know that the greenhouse gases, CO2 emissions, are responsible for the global warming. And so we know that we have to face this because otherwise we have huge risks in terms of food supply, in terms of fires, in terms of droughts. And what happened in Australia will be normal. Also, in terms of rainfall, so the situation will change, but even the way in which infectious diseases spread, well, this will change because of climate change. And so, I mean, we are aware of the risks caused by a 2-degree increase, but we are not doing a lot to reduce emissions. And actually, I noticed that there are also other similarities when it comes to climate change and pandemic, because they both are a challenge to our survival on this planet. and both require global cooperation. Both require a change, but the benefits will come in the future. And in both cases, the earlier we act, the easier it will be to handle and manage the consequences. So the pandemic, the virus emergency, forced us to change our behaviors and lifestyles. Up until a few weeks ago, we couldn't think that that would be possible, but the same applies to climate change, and we should change our behaviors in order to reduce the increase in the global warming and the increase in the temperatures. And to do that, we have to change our behaviors, the way in which produce energy, food, transportation, construction, and the way in which we plan our societies. We must have emissions by 2030, and we should reach zero net emissions by 2050. But this implies a radical change of the whole system. Personally, I think that the coronavirus emergency demonstrated that radical changes are possible. We saw that it is possible to see hospitals to be built even in Italy in very few days. And there are plenty of grassroots innovations and a lot of examples of solidarity. I think that this crisis is offering us a unique opportunity to look at our model for the future. Shall we go back to our old model using fossil fuels, which leads to global warming, or shall we focus on a more sustainable development model for us and the planet in order to combine the well-being of our planet with the well-being of human beings? I personally think that the inputs needed for the social and economic recovery should also be used in terms of climate change, electric mobility, clean energy, and we should also set specific goals in terms of CO2 emissions cutting, for example, looking at the aviation industry. Unfortunately, they are responsible for lots of CO2 emissions, so we should really exploit technological innovation to make supply chains more resilient and to come up with different solutions in order to face pandemics, but also environmental disasters or extreme events. As we said, it is time to use communication and, in particular, technological innovation and digital innovation to produce social innovation. And of course, this applies to many different fields. We can collaborate not only locally or nationally, but also at international level. And of course, we should base our actions on science, on scientific research and knowledge, and these were often neglected. So your suggestion, of course, is shared and appreciated. So we decided to organize Start the Future on this day, which is the World Health Day. We have been celebrating it since 1950, and we would like in 2030 to be in a better situation when it comes to the development goals. So we have to raise awareness about the health and the well-being of people. We hope that by 2030 we will have done something also for the climate change. So we have to start immediately. We have to start the future immediately. Thank you, Eleonora. Thank you for your contribution and see you soon. Thank you.